Welcome back to the channel. I trust that you're doing well. We are beginning to see some signs of weakness in Bitcoin dominance. Alongside that, we're seeing some proprietary alt-season indicators begin to fire off. We're seeing massive accumulation on the Ethereum ETF inflows, and we're seeing a lot of stablecoins being deployed onto Ethereum as well. Could we be approaching a massive alt-season sooner than later? We'll get into it in this video. If you like this kind of content, you want to see more of it, don't forget to leave me a like and hit subscribe for future content. Let's get into the video. And we're seeing a mix of red and green across the alt sector here over the last week. We see some really big winners, CFX coming in at 79.9%, ENA up 38.3%, Saros up 26.7%, got Tezos up 23.4%. Some of the bigger losers this week is Pump down 38.5%. We can see Stellar Lumens down 11.1%, which is just kind of taking a breather right now. And same with XRP down 10%. But again, just having a breather off a really nice run. So a mix of green and red over the last week for the alt sector. And we've got an interesting post here from Swiss Block regarding alt season, saying that the alt cycle is aligning just like it did ahead of past alt season bursts. Bitcoin dominance has been relentless since December 2024, which is the gray line on this chart over here. And you can see that Bitcoin dominance has recently taken a big spill to the downside. So we'll be looking closer at Bitcoin dominance here shortly. Now it's showing early signs of weakness similar to previous pre-alt season conditions. Previous alt-season spikes in red on this chart, so you can see the spike right here, were short-lived. Alts need stronger narratives to sustain a full rotation according to Swiss Block. So we can see down below this blue line, which is the Bitcoin season. You can see it's jumped up above the yellow line there and is above a 58 read on the y-axis of the chart. Once it gets above this blue dotted line here, which is just under that 60 read, then we're going to see alt season according to this chart here. So let's move right along to Glassnode. Glassnode's proprietary alt season indicator fired on July 9th. This means that stablecoin supplies are expanding, capital is flowing into BTC and Ethereum, and simultaneously, the altcoin market cap is rising, a structural environment conducive to capital rotation. And as you can see on this chart here, that their altcoin indicator did fire off. So we have in blue, alt cap 30-day SMA, and in pink, we have the alt cap 7-day SMA. So the lower period crossed above that higher period and is beginning to expand to the upside. And indeed, we have been seeing a lot of stablecoins getting deployed for sure. And we'll take a closer look at that as well. So if we pop over here to the Artemis terminal, we can see over here that Ethereum just had 983 million worth of stablecoins added to the blockchain. So massive stablecoins being deployed right now. Arbitrum 1, which layer 2 on Ethereum, 68 million. And we see Solana 2 getting 65.8 million worth of stablecoins added. Up here in the top left, we can see the market cap of crypto has increased to 3.9 trillion, which is up 23% in the last 30 days. If we scroll down a little bit here and we check out some of the sector performances among different altcoins, we can see that the NFT applications continue to crush it. I think last time we looked at this, it was about 130%, now up to 170%. So NFT applications absolutely killing it right now. Ethereum up to 53.4, and we have Gen 1 smart contracts at 40.3. Some of the sectors that are lagging behind right now is Privacy Coin at 4.3. We see Bitcoin is lagging right now at 10.4 and Bitcoin ecosystem at 11.5. And jumping into the alt season index, we see it is currently at a 43. If we look at the chart down below, we see that it spiked up to a 59 read on the y-axis and has since pulled back to a 43. Of course, anything below a 25 read is Bitcoin season, and anything above a 75 read is altcoin season. And usually up above a 75 is when things get crazy, they can get a little bit overheated, and usually in that territory is when I start to begin to scale out some profits. And as you can see, we're currently at a 43. We're quite a ways away from that 75 read. And jumping into Bitcoin dominance to have a closer look at the situation here. And we do see a little bit of a waterfall taking place on Bitcoin dominance, and certainly a sign of weakness. We now have a lower low as opposed to back here. So this is beginning to break structure. Currently, we see Bitcoin dominance catching a bounce off the 377 exponential moving average, and it remains to be seen, does Bitcoin dominance grind its way a little bit higher here, or does it just simply roll over and waterfall to the downside? Either way, the two things I'm looking for here is either Bitcoin dominance continues to fall to the downside now that it's taken out this pivot right here, or if Bitcoin dominance over the coming couple weeks wants to kind of grind its way up, the question will be, can it put in a lower high as opposed to back here? So if we kind of see this grind its way up but roll over somewhere in this area here, then what we're going to have is the makings of a downtrend in progress. We'll have, the high here, We'll have a lower low as opposed to back here, and then we'll be on lower high watch. If we get that, then the weakness in Bitcoin dominance will begin to accelerate at that point in time, and then we'll just be looking for a lower low as opposed to back here. But right now, we do see it catching a little bit of a bounce off the 377. Definitely a sign of weakness because it did take out a major pivot back here. And now we just wait and see. Does it roll from here and continue to the downside? Or does it kind of grind its way up and then roll over in the future, creating that lower high? So we'll keep an eye on Bitcoin dominance. But so far, we are certainly seeing some signs of weakness here. And jumping into the Ethereum inflows for the ETFs, we are seeing some massive accumulation across the Ethereum ETF inflows right now. On July 15th, we saw 726 million worth of inflows. We can see on July 16th, there was 602 million. And we can see on the 21st, there was 533 million. But as you can see here, there's been nothing but positive inflows for Ethereum for several days on end. And all of this inflow is absolutely dwarfing any of the inflows or outflows that we've seen from Ethereum over the last several days. So definitely some accumulation being observed here, plus all the stable coins getting deployed on Ethereum. Ethereum seems to be looking really bullish here. And jumping into the price action of Ethereum on a daily time frame, we can see that Ethereum is just simply taking a little bit of a breather right now. It's only down about 1.6% at the time of making this video. I mean, look at all these beautiful daily green candles in a row. Not unusual to see a little bit of sideways and down here. And so far, Ethereum's only testing that 10 simple moving average. And as of right now, not a single candle body closure below it. Heck, in my opinion, it wouldn't even be unusual if Ethereum wants to come and test the 21, which is right down here in yellow, and the 21 is currently at 3,300. But every daily candle that Ethereum closes up at this level here or higher is going to be dragging that yellow 21 higher and higher and very quickly. So who knows where the 21 would be in the event that Ethereum was to break through that red 10 simple and test the 21. But it is entirely possible that Ethereum finds some support off the red 10 simple and maybe makes another attempt to the upside, perhaps next week. We'll see. But as of right now, this is just, it looks completely bullish to me. You can see that we got the bottom for Ethereum way back here. It came in, stuck in this high here, got the higher low, and now we've gotten a higher high as opposed to back here. So things are looking really good for Ethereum. This purple box here is marking out this area back here. That was the last area where sellers were able to step in a very significant way and knock Ethereum to the downside. So this area up here could serve as some resistance, and we do want to see Ethereum get above that at some point in time. The bottom side of that purple box is coming in at about 4,000, and the top side is coming in at about 4,100. So that's the next area of resistance to watch. So maybe we see Ethereum find a little bit of support off the 10, come up, test that box, then come back down and test the 21. Who knows? I'm not too concerned about it. The main takeaway here is that Ethereum looks totally normal, completely fine to be testing that 10 after such a beautiful run up to the upside. So we'll be keeping an eye on this. And jumping into the price action of Solana, we can see that Solana did close a nice green candle up above that purple zone. Of course, that's just simply marking this pivot back here. Continuation the very next day was looking really good, and then the whole market decides to sell off, and of course Solana was no exception. Gravity set in, Solana gets this big red candle to the downside, initially tried to find some support there, but the next day it did cough it up. Now we can see Solana is currently trading at about 182 and is down less than 1% today. So this purple box now is no longer of use to us. It has been invalidated, but if I zoom this out, Solana is still looking really good. We can see we got the bottom of Solana way back here. We got this obvious pivot on the market here. Then we got a higher low as opposed to back here. And now Solana has stuck in a higher high versus back here. So uptrend looking good, looking very bullish. We can also see if I take off some of these moving averages here, let's go like this. We're going to get rid of these guys. We'll leave that purple one on. And I'll show you that Solana has recently had a golden cross. That would be the 55 EMA getting through that purple 200 EMA down below. Now, with these kinds of crosses, usually they're a bit magnetic for price. So a lot of the time you'll get a golden cross and you'll see the price of the asset pull into the golden cross. Sometimes they'll come all the way down and literally test it and try to confirm it as support before moving higher. What I've learned through my experiences is that not every single time will the asset necessarily pull into the golden cross, but it'll typically pull into a relevant area. So if I zoom this chart out, what would be the relevant area in this situation? Well, it would be a test of this pivot right here. I mean, that's a big obvious pivot since Solana put in this bottom back here. And what do we see happening? We see Solana coming down and just simply testing this area with a golden cross down below. So that would, in my book, that would certainly be a relevant area to be testing. We're getting that magnetic drawdown to the golden cross. Totally normal. To me, Solana looks nice and bullish here. I mean, like I said, you've got that low. We got this high right here. Higher low, and now a higher high as opposed to back here. And that is the definition of an uptrend, now supported by a golden cross. So we'll keep a close eye on that as well. But despite all the selling here from Solana, still looking great to me. And quickly taking a look at SUI on a daily time frame, we see that SUI did get into the purple zone with this wick right here and was just instantly spat out to the downside. When you look left, that's all we usually get in that area. You can see 3 wicks right here, and we can see a wick here before sellers step in, and no closures above those levels. So not unusual. Since then, SUI's come in and is simply testing the yellow 21, which is totally fine in my book, putting 3 wicks off the yellow 21 and now making an attempt at the 10. And it looks like it's just price action's kind of just getting sandwiched between those two. And sometimes you'll see that. Sometimes you'll see price action sandwiched between those moving averages before ultimately finding support and moving back to the upside. Whatever SUI wants to do with that, fine with me. What I'm looking for is a break of the purple zone, of course. Because that's marking this last pivot back here where sellers made an attempt to the downside. So an area of obvious resistance. We want to see SUI closing some dailies up above there, and we want to see it hold up above there and set itself up for some higher price levels. The bottom side of that purple box is coming in at $4.12, and the top side's coming in at approximately $4.30. So at the end of the day, whatever SUI wants to do in here, fine with me, but I'm just looking for those daily candle body closures up above that level. This is still looking totally fine to me. And jumping over to XRP, we see that XRP did close that daily candle up above the purple zone there. And for several days, it held up above there. Bulls stepped in, we're confirming it as support, and we're in the process of trying to make a move to the upside. And then the entire market sells off. And of course, XRP was no exception and fell back down below that purple zone. Purple zone isn't a magic area. It's just showing us the last time sellers were present and knocked price to the downside. So XRP has fallen down below that. Not a big deal. We see it still finding support on the yellow 21 right here, getting several wicks off of it, and looks to be trying to regather itself. So what we can do is get rid of that purple box because we did get up above there, and we can now pay attention to the new local high right here. We'll go ahead and mark that out like so. And as we can see that XRP at the very least did give us a higher high as opposed to back there. So all we need now is a higher low as opposed to, this price action back here. And XRP is still in a bullish posturing. So we'll see how things shape up over the weekend and, of course, more importantly, into next week. But to me, XRP is still looking great. Beautiful move to the upside. Too bad market sells off. XRP is obviously same thing happened for it, and now it's just trying to find that support on the 21. Still looks fine to me. Well, that does it for this one, everyone. Be sure to leave your comments in the comment section down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Do you think alt season's just getting started? Do you think alt season is still something on the horizon? Or do you think we're not going to get an alt season whatsoever? Be sure to let me know in the comment section down below. Thanks so much for coming by and checking out this video. Looking forward to seeing you in the next one, and until I do, have yourself a powerful day.